Welcome back to the show, everybody. Let's just take a look at the price really quickly. XRP at 45 cents, 0.4513. And I ask you, if XRP is a currency, is it a currency? Because if it is, XRP plus a currency equals XRP price set at my house. Let's roll this beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Bitcoin breached $60,000 just a short time ago. It's up 24.46% on the 7-day and 5.87% on the 24-hour. More than $1 trillion market cap for Bitcoin. Remember, $8 trillion market cap for gold. Come on in. Yeah, there's a real conversation coming, and I think it involves regulators, but let's go ahead and talk about this right now, which is a 45-cent XRP, which I believe not too long in the distant future will be used by central banks because they are, in fact, having built a private ledger on top of the XRP ledger open source technology. And I do believe not too distant future, we're going to see the benefits of that. How it affects retail holders and investors? Well, that's yet to come. Let's get started. Okay, so I want to start right here. I may hop around a little bit. Let's just see how it flows. I've got so much running through my mind. Those of you who have been with me on this channel for a while know that I have been pounding the ground about the idea about a price set for XRP. The question is how do you price set an open decentralized asset like XRP? We'll get into that before the video's over. Let's take a listen to this clip right here to set the tone. If this is in fact found to be currency and not a security, then in fact Ripple has created new money for the world to use. And according to Line 82, the SEC is well aware that they have achieved widespread adoption through the suggested market-making services, non-cash consideration, right, labor, and all of this. They understand that there were other distributions as well that Ripple paid third parties to assist in its efforts to accomplish as widespread adoption of XRP as possible to attempt to develop a use for XRP, which it has. Otherwise, why would the SEC be suing them at all? There's the question. Now let me play another clip to set the tone here as well from my video earlier this morning. If you haven't seen it, please watch that video. There's other information about 4 things that you should be asking yourself about the SEC Ripple case. This is a separate topic of those 4 things, and I think you should watch the other video for those 4 things. Let's stay on task here. Let's play this clip. Why we are here today. We're here today because Ripple has achieved widespread adoption, and knowing that the real true price will be affected by the volume of these sophisticated financial institutions and central banks, for which we know have a private ledger built on top of the XRP open source technology. We know that that is a fact, Jack. And so does the SEC, and I guarantee you they know it to a greater degree than we know it. There you have it, excuse me. And if we understand this, that there has been massive widespread adoption across many different areas of industries, albeit market makers, payment providers, remittance companies, and sophisticated financial institutions and central banks, and I do believe that they have achieved this, then I think we have to say, and plus we also know that, like I said in the video, there is a private ledger, in fact, and we know this. So for central banks on the XRP ledger open source technology, doesn't this understanding make clear that we, in fact, or at least I believe that in the near future, we must see some kind of synchronization onto the ledger by these central banks? Hell, for all we know, that private ledger may be running in synchronization now. They may have their own personal escrow set aside for themselves as central banks for XRP. For all we know, they may even be as far as having a different price inside the bubble of that private ledger for XRP that is satisfying what they know they need daily to settle using XRP in that said or speculative escrow account for central banks in their private ledger. All of this is speculation here, but I think it's absolutely something we should be talking about. How do we know, in fact, that that private ledger doesn't have a private escrow allotted and they don't already have a price for XRP themselves? We don't. You know, the other part of this is the synchronization. If, in fact, let's just say that they don't have an actual separate price for that and they're not that far along with the private ledger, okay, great, fine, that's fine. But you couldn't convince me, for all the tea in China, you couldn't convince me that they haven't run simulation models on this private ledger to understand what the price of XRP is going to be to satisfy the needs of the central bank private ledger and the use of XRP at some point in the future. Now, you can't convince me of that. These people are some of the smartest people in the world. They're not moving forward without knowing what the ramifications, implications, and what the growth potential of the asset would be when they use it. Because that's how things get done. Okay. The synchronization part's key for me because, in fact, it lets me know, and I think everybody else here, none of this works. This value, moving XRP up in value, liquidity, volume and liquidity plus utility over time equal price, right? Going up, right? But understanding too that the ledger really doesn't work unless you have at least two parties willing to be a sender and a receiver. Hence the private ledger built on top of the XRP ledger open source technology. They're all obviously going to synchronize at some point, and the ones that are involved in that private ledger will be working together simultaneously because it doesn't work if you don't have it on your end, but I do on mine. And doesn't it make sense that XRP would need to be price set? Think of it for a moment. We all pound the ground out here. XRP's a currency. XRP's a currency, Well, it doesn't help the central banks if that new money, new currency, albeit XRP there, is fluctuating in the same amount that the dollar does. And I'm not saying it would be $1. I'm talking about the range of fluctuation. It could be $1,000, but if it's $1,000 today and $1,010 tomorrow, and then $1,001 the next day, and so on and so on and so on, this does not a solution make, because you just made the greatest case to keep using something like the US dollar, regardless of the Trippin dilemma. Those of you who don't know, the Trippin dilemma is when you have a national currency used as a global reserve status currency, and then you have the adverse effects that if you make adjustments to that currency according to national policy, you usually hurt the globe, and likewise in the reverse, right? If you make decisions policy-wise for the global side, then you end up hurting the national side effects of that currency in most cases. So there you have that. So the point being is the world has made it very clear that they don't want the US dollar because of negative effects like the Triffin dilemma. And for that matter, even something like gold has been entertained over the years, but no takers for the same reason because of the fluctuation in value. So if they're going to use this asset, in my mind, the question remains, how do you price set an open decentralized asset like XRP? Well, I'm glad you asked. By collateralizing the ledger with cash reserves and tokenized assets like gold and oil, much like the way the Fed has done in every crisis that we've ever seen, only they would be tokenizing this on the ledger, the XRP ledger. And that, to me, is setting the stage, because at the end of the day, if that in fact is happening, then I think we see a situation like this. If someone says, as David Schwartz has said, if someone says they want a walled garden and you can't convince them otherwise, you build them a walled garden with a big red button pressed to lower walls. If you lower the walls and the collateralization collectively of all these different institutions is now made, I don't want to say public, but now official, right? Then collectively you could collateralize the ledger, and I'll just use an arbitrary number, $1 trillion worth of gold, $1 trillion worth of oil, $1 trillion worth of cash reserves from around the world. And then we have created what we would call a floor price, or otherwise discussed as a price set, by not harming the fact that it is a open, decentralized global asset. But you've created a floor price to guarantee the real users that are going to bring their volume to the network that they won't be harmed in the way that they could be with something like oil or gold or even cash. That's what I got. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I don't know what pans out, but I tell you this, XRP plus currency equals XRP price set at my house. That's going to do it for me. Hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, make sure you share with someone you know, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. By the way, next week, a new category on unstoppable domains for March Madness. It's real estate.cryptos. You better be ready when they drop, because it's going to be a frenzy. I'll catch all of you on the next one.